All right, I told you guys if another big story hit over the weekend, I would definitely do another video, and here we are. So, if you guys all watched my video from yesterday, I talked about Henry Cavill pretty much being safe, and that I do believe that the Trinity will stay intact, and I have more proof of that for you guys here today. So I'm going to take you right over to a Hollywood Reporter story that actually has a bunch of quotes directly from James Gunn. This article was just posted today, and these are comments that James Gunn has been making over the last couple of days, and this is going to back up everything that I talked about yesterday. So here's this Hollywood Reporter story. James Gunn calls Superman huge priority, debunks speculation about his feelings towards Henry Cavill. The filmmaker and DC Studios boss paid tribute to Richard Donner's 1978 Superman, leading to questions about Gunn's own plan for the superhero. So let's look through this article here. It's very interesting. This takes me back. I will tell you, I was obsessed with Superman as a child. I'll have to show you guys at some point in the future. I actually have some pictures signed by Christopher Reeve in the other room. Superman that I did in third grade, I actually reached out to him, and I'll eventually show that. But it says here that the new co-chair and co-CEO of DC Studios took to Twitter on Saturday to commemorate the 44th anniversary of Richard Donner's Superman. Superman premiered 44 years ago today, Gunn tweeted, adding heart and star emojis. Gunn also shared the film's original poster featuring the tagline, "You'll believe a man can fly." Given the flurry... Okay, so at any point, he goes on to saying that I'm trying to say it. So somebody asked him about, one fan on Twitter asked what Gunn was trying to say with the post. The filmmaker replied, "I'm trying to say it's the 44th anniversary of the premiere of Superman, which is a great movie." When asked whether Superman would be coming back to the big screen, Gunn responded, "Yes, of course. Superman is a huge priority, if not the biggest priority." Okay, this goes back to what Zaslav has been talking about since he took over and before he took over. I told you guys, Superman is a massive priority for the studio. I fully believe it is going to be the first movie released. Then he goes on to talk about Ryan Reynolds, which is interesting. I truly hope Ryan Reynolds comes back as Green Lantern. The fault with Green Lantern does not lie with Ryan Reynolds or the characters in the film. It had to do with the story itself. They do not need to retell the origin of Hal Jordan, but somebody asked, he also replied to a tweet asking, and he goes through a couple of tweets here, and I'm going to read this. He also replied to a tweet asking about Green Lantern content by writing. Important. He then made it clear that Ryan Reynolds hasn't planned to return as the character, and when a Twitter user said that Ryan was intended to reprise the role for filmmaker Zack Snyder, Gunn added he wasn't, which we know is not true. Zack Snyder himself has even talked about he planned on having both Hal Jordan, Ryan Reynolds, and what's his name? The other Green. I hate it when I do this. Oh, good grief. Anyway, the other Green Lantern there. Gunn also responded on a different Twitter thread, to a fan who tweeted that Gunn does not like Henry Cavill. This is where it gets interesting. The actor returned as Superman in a mid-credits cameo during the fall's Black Adam after an absence from the role since Snyder's 2017 film Justice League. When asked to comment on that claim about his feelings towards Cavill, Gunn wrote, "Sure, false." This led the fan who posted the initial claim to add that he has heard from multiple people that Gunn doesn't like Cavill, to which the filmmaker fired back, this is pretty funny, "So weird. You seem so plugged in. Anyway, I just had 40 people reach out to me to say you just got kicked out of your mom's basement. So sorry, man." That's pretty funny, actually. So during an onstage interview that took place in October, shortly after the release of Black Adam, Cavill said he looked forward to playing an enormously joyful Superman in the future and said he was very excited about Gunn's hiring. So they go on to talk about, the Hollywood Reporter story about DC Studios published Wednesday reported that Patty Jenkins' version of Wonder Woman 3 has been scuttled and raised the possibility that Cavill would be done as Man of Steel. So Gunn responded to that story Thursday. That's what I talked about in my last video. So let's talk about a couple of things here. So clearly, Henry Cavill is still Superman. I told you guys this yesterday. Cavill would not have gone on this press tour and made that comment on social media. If you go back and find his social media post, you'll see that DC Comics liked it and Warner Brothers Discovery actually shared it. Okay, he is back as Superman. You could take that to the bank. Now, I'm not a scooper, but I understand contracts. I've talked about that in the past. He's got a contract. He even mentioned Gunn during that thing. I guarantee you Superman is back, and Zaslav said he's going to make it his number one priority. Doesn't understand how the number one character in the world has only had one film, since this whole thing started. So I guarantee you he's back. Also, these reports have talked about Gal Gadot not being done as Wonder Woman. They just rejected Patty Jenkins' script, and she walked away from the project. So that was on her. They offered to give her a chance to rewrite the Wonder Woman 3 script. She refused and walked away, so she's done. But Gal Gadot is not done from playing Wonder Woman. I totally believe we're going to have the original Trinity back, and I do think Man of Steel is going to be announced first. I would love to see that revolve around a Trinity story with both Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Things are just going at lightning speed right now, and I'm going to continue to cover all of this. And as these things get released, I'm going to be bringing everything to you guys so I can share it, talk about my feelings on it, and what could be happening behind the scenes. So the one thing that we are 100% sure on, Henry Cavill is back as Superman and is going to be the Superman for the foreseeable future. He is, I'm sure he's locked in for the 10-year plan, and we will be seeing more of him. Whether he gets cut from The Flash has nothing to do with his contract, has nothing to do with him being back as Superman. There are just aspects of that film that may not fit into the future vision of what they are doing. And I wouldn't be surprised, if Gunn gets done with this and says, they're going to have to push back The Flash even more and maybe some of the other films. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but these movies have all been pushed back for quite some time. So multiple times we may see more pushback coming up. So don't be surprised if that happens as they solidify their plans. There is that planned meeting next week, and if more information comes out on that, I will be covering it. So I appreciate all the support. Hopefully you guys find these videos entertaining and informative, and we will see you on the next video.